Sundered, a horrifying fight for survival and sanity. Is it good? Yes. Sundered is one of those rare games that had a successful Kickstarter and actually lived up to its potential. Here is the good game on Kickstarter list. The price was reachable, the project launch and estimated release were within a year, and the best part of it all, it was actually released on time. There was even a beta for backers to try it out that wouldn't spoil the game. Okay, let's talk about the actual game. In case you didn't know, Sundered is made by Thunder Lotus Games, the makers of Jotun, which is that one game about the giant Norse bosses and stuff. So the first thing you notice about this game is the long load time. And then the next thing you notice is how freaking beautiful everything looks. It's all hand drawn and everything looks so amazing and detailed. Look how awesome this statue is. Now look at this main character. And now look at her dead. Oh god. Everything looks so unique and it fits with each zone. And the bosses are... music is kinda spooky sometimes. Can we go on the next topic, please? You play as Esh, a well-known desert stroller, and get sucked into an evil world by some old god thing. I mean, there's more story and lore in this game. You just have to hit these rocks and Yveltal or whatever the fuck gives you a brief history on what happened. And he even gives you backstory on some of the mini-bosses. There's also these little relics, but you're gonna have to figure that out on your own. I was more invested in the gameplay of Sundered. It's a Metroidvania with bits and pieces of hack and slash and escaping. Okay, that doesn't really make sense, so let me explain. A Metroidvania is a term to describe a game that has these zones that you can explore until you reach a dead end or a gated path with some sort of lock is in the way. In order to get rid of this lock, you would have to find another path to open it on the other end of the lock, or obtain an ability to get past the lock. The zones get more familiar since the player would end up going back and forth just to make progress. In this game, there are three major zones. Bottom, which is the mechanical facility, left, which is literal hell, and right, which is this floating cathedral with elevators and less platforming than the other zones. Oh yeah, and the zones are split up to these little blocks, which you can see right here, and they change every now and then. It's always a good idea to explore, as you always get rewarded for it, either by finding a stash of loot, or uncovering a perk, or finding a horde of tentacle monsters. Which brings me to the hack and slash part of the bad summarization I did. I really like the combat for this game. You start off with some light attack combinations and a dodge, but with the help of the minimap, you'll be able to locate ability shrines which unlock more abilities. Abilities like charged attacks, a gun cannon, even flight give you a better chance to fight off these hordes of enemies, and might even be the key for those gates I mentioned earlier. Enemies and whatever this is drop shards which can be used to upgrade Esh in the sanctuary. You can increase her health, add more damage, give more crits, all that stuff is available on the weird Final Fantasy X-like skill tree. You also equip those found perks, which are really cool because they have this risk-reward system. I spent a good minute deciding if I wanted to equip something because it recharges my shields constantly, but it also reduces my health 75%. After you enjoyed the small break in the sanctuary, it's time to face the mini-bosses and the big bosses of the zones. What's nice is defeated mini-bosses would drop Elder Shard pieces, which can be used in two ways, either by doing the right thing and discarding them in the furnace, or combining three and use it on a discovered ability shrine to inject an ability with Dark Eco. I know it sounds malicious at first, but I mean, it makes the abilities 10 times cooler. Okay, time to explain the escaping. Sometimes the best thing to do for spawned enemies is to run away. That's it. That's escaping. You can return to the sanctuary in the pause menu, but it won't matter because once you hear that music tone change, enemies will keep chasing you until you're dead. So that's fun. That's really one of the few negatives I have about this game. Some areas warn you about the endless spawns occurring, which gives me this sort of panic feeling, and instead of relaxing and exploring the areas, I'm rushing through, and you know, I kinda like to take my time. They don't want me to. At least you don't have to go back and collect your souls. I mean shards, damn it. What else is there? There's a ton of replayability. There's about 3 different endings and, you know, good reason to play it again. The bosses aren't that difficult either. If you're having a hard time, just grind it out a little bit. It doesn't even take that long. I spent about a good 10 hours in this game and I really enjoyed it. Sundered's beautiful art style and its direction, along with the Metroidvania action that comes with it, definitely outweigh the negatives of the load time and the dumb horde. I feel like I should mention that I backed this game on Kickstarter and that's how I got my copy, but I would definitely pay the asking price for this game. It's worth every penny.